Hello from Wyoming. I'm about 50 miles from the Utah border and about 2/3 of the way through this particular delivery run from Michigan to California. What I got in the back here is a piece of furniture that is split into two parts, separated, one on each side of the trailer. And then in between that, we have some panels. You can't really see it, but they're faux marble panels in the middle there. Okay, so the topic of this video is that I'm making more money with this Toyota Corolla than I ever did with a pickup truck, and you could attribute that to a lot of different variables, a lot of different reasons, maybe even mistakes that I made on my part when operating with a pickup truck, things that didn't go the way they should have gone, problems with agencies and insurance companies not doing paperwork correctly and on time, a lot of different things that you can say, well, it wasn't under my control, or it could have gone differently, or whatever. But the fact is, things do go the way that they go, and I have to acknowledge at this point that after 4 months of using this car, I can say confidently that for whatever reason, or a combination of reasons, I'm making more money with the car than I was with the pickup truck. And I'm kind of enjoying it more too. It feels a little bit more like a journey and a little bit less like a job, but the realities are the pickup truck in a lot of ways was more comfortable. I had air conditioning in my pickup truck. This car, it's not that the air conditioning isn't working, it's that the air conditioning was never installed. This car came out of Alaska. I reckon it was sold directly to Alaska, to someone in Alaska who may have even custom ordered it back in the day, 1990, when you kind of chose what you wanted. And trying to get where I can see it in the image here. This is where the air conditioning would be. There isn't a button there. It's just not installed in this car. It does happen to have a sunroof, which is nice. The windows don't work, and I figured out why they probably didn't work. Down here we have some wires, and a whole bunch of those wires are broken. Those are wires that are running from the door to wherever, and you can clearly see there's like 10 wires that are broken. I don't know if they got jammed in the door at some point, someone closed the door on them, they just broke over time, I have no idea. But the previous owner also pulled the whole panel out because he didn't want someone, apparently they would go down but not up. He didn't want them to get rolled down and not be able to get them back up. So unfortunately he pulled out that whole panel, got rid of it. I only have a sunroof, thank goodness I have it, or I would be unable to use this vehicle before getting the windows fixed. So no AC, no windows, just a sunroof. There's a lot about using the car that's way less comfortable than using the pickup truck. Obviously I would do much heavier loads with the pickup truck, and sometimes I'd still, with the truck, end up really slowing down or downshifting a lot, going up hills. But with the car, it's even more pronounced. So it's slower going. It's not as modern of a vehicle. In some ways, it's not as comfortable. The seating position is actually more comfortable for me than the seating and the seat itself in the truck. But that's about the only thing I can really say is more comfortable with the car, although it is a fairly significant one. So the reality is, that's just the way things are right now. I wanted to make a quick YouTube video about it, just to get out of the car for a minute, get some different content up on my channel than just play-by-play of what's going on, and harp on that interesting topic again, because it's not like I haven't brought it up before. I first started bringing it up when I very first started using the car, and at that point it seemed like maybe it was just luck, maybe it was just a fluke. But at this point, I can consistently say that for the last 4 months, I've been doing better with the car than I was with my truck. And I think I'm going to leave the video off here. some food for thought, some food for discussion. I guess I should tell you what I'm making on this trip and what I just made on a prior trip to give you a little bit of context for that, and set things in perspective a little bit. For the last month or so, actually less than a month, I've been focusing on actually being self-employed. Before that, I was working a 9-to-5, essentially doing things only on weekends, and each weekend I would make up to or around $1,000 with this car, just between Friday and Sunday. But it was hard to say, how consistent that could be. This trip is paying $1,200 for the furniture item, $700 for the panel, Michigan to California for $1,900. It's about a 2,100 mile trip, or 22, so I am going just under $1 a mile. Doesn't sound great, but my expenses are so much lower with the car, which is why when I say I'm making more money, I mean the money that's going to me, not the money that's going to pay for a commercial insurance policy, a truck payment, fuel, all sorts of stuff. I could have definitely lined up work from Michigan to California that paid over $1 a mile with a pickup truck, but I would say that per mile I would be keeping less of that money, and more of it would go to expenses, so much more that my take-home pay itself would be lower. So anyways, that's this trip. Right before I did this trip, I did one quick delivery with the car. I delivered 24 box beams, and it turned out about 8 to 12 or so just 2x6s that were going to be the frame that they bolted onto in the home. And that was Michigan to Wisconsin. It was 600 miles round trip, and I charged $600 for it. It cost me, I think, $70 in fuel, and obviously you have to buy your food on the road and stuff. I think that came out to $30. I felt like I splurged a little bit on food, but $500 in what was a very, very long day, but one day nonetheless. $500 after expenses. This one, I think that after the expenses, you have to include all the expenses. So I'm going to add that I spent $61 on a hotel, whereas I typically sleep in the vehicle most of the time. I chose to get a hotel. I could have not done that, but like I said, things are the way they are. You can't make excuses and say what would have been different if, that was part of the expense of this trip. I also installed an inverter in the car because I didn't have any electricity in the car because the cigarette lighter didn't work. So that was another expense on this trip that ended up costing me about $40 between parts and tools to put that together. I can probably just show you through the sunroof here. And that's an extra $100. I think the total cost to me monetarily for this trip is going to be around $500, and I'll have to go back through my receipts and bank statement afterwards to confirm that, but it should be in that ballpark. So $1,400 off of what is becoming quite a long trip. So it begs, as long as we have discussion questions here, it begs the other question: is it worth it at all to make money by hauling things with any vehicle? Toyota Corolla, Ford F-150, Ford F-350, semi-truck, what have you, and where does the incoming to outgoing money ratio make it make sense? And when you're thinking about that, are you including paying for the vehicle itself? Because a lot of people think, well, I'm gonna own a truck anyway. Yeah, but you're not gonna wear out your truck in the course of just a few years just running around town. You will going across the country all the time. So are you including that expense? And are you thinking that you're making $100,000 a year, but really all you're doing is buying a new truck with $20,000 left over, and then next year buying another new truck? So again, it's discussion questions. I'm not saying that is where it lands for people. I'm not saying it's where it landed for me. I think it landed worse for me with the truck, but those are the questions you have to ask. So anyways, thank you for watching. At the end of the day, what I'm trying to do here is put out some interesting questions for anybody who has any remote interest in making money with the vehicle, or through any sort of self-employed venture at all, for that matter, and create some YouTube content that I hope gets some likes and views and subscriptions. So if you want to do that for me, go ahead, and if you don't, totally cool. Thanks for watching, and catch you later.